What is it like daily driving a hybrid turbo on my GLI? As always, let me break it down for y'all. Now my GLI makes a little bit over 500 horsepower and is running the EQT Vortex standard hybrid turbo. A hybrid turbo for this platform basically uses the exhaust housing from either an IS-20 or an IS-38, along with a larger compressor side of the turbo with a larger compressor inside and a larger turbine in the exhaust housing. Basically that means it's a direct bolt-on turbo that has larger internals and is able to make more power. But it does have pros and cons, specifically when it comes to daily driving. The stock IS-20 turbo that comes on these cars is super duper snappy and super duper zippy. It does spool up very, very fast, but it does kind of fall off whenever it gets to the higher RPM ranges. With something like an IS-20 hybrid turbo, it does still spool up pretty fast, and I can hit 28 PSI around 3,200 RPM by having a very free-flowing exhaust setup. On top of that, it does also feel a hell of a lot faster than the stock turbo, and it does not die off in the higher RPM range. Instead, I can literally hold 35 PSI all the way to redline in fourth gear. So driving in the higher RPM ranges is way better with a hybrid turbo because you don't have to worry about the turbo feeling like it's just falling off the face of the earth. But the drawback is that because it does have a higher spool time and does take a little bit longer to get into boost, is that when you're at red lights and stuff like that, it does take a little bit longer to kind of get up to speed. And something like an IS-38 hybrid turbo would take even longer to spool up than the IS-20 hybrid. One other thing that I noticed too after I installed this turbo was that the fuel economy actually improved. I think that's largely due to the fact that the car is not in boost as much, so you're not using as much fuel. I could be wrong if that's why, but that's just kind of what I noticed. The last thing I really want to talk about is spooling and noise. Obviously it is a bigger turbo and the turbo noises are freaking insane, man. Especially by having a very free-flowing exhaust setup and a really good intake setup and intercooler and everything like that. Literally it feels like I'm driving a diesel truck because of how much spool noise there is whenever I'm driving the car at lower RPMs. And even when I downshift on decel, there is a lot of turbo noise. Anyways, I hope this answers the question of